Hello and welcome to News Express. I'm Susan, and today we're discussing a critical issue, global warming. The UN has just released a report, and it's a wake-up call for all of us. Stay tuned to find out what's at stake and what we can do about it. The world is on track for a catastrophic 3.1 degrees Celsius rise in global temperatures by the end of this century, according to the latest UN report. This far exceeds the 1.5 degrees Celsius limit agreed upon in the Paris Climate Agreement, an essential threshold to avoid the worst effects of climate change. The UN Environment Programme, UNEP, warns that without urgent action, limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius may soon become impossible. Based on current policies, the planet is headed for a temperature rise between 2.6 degrees Celsius and 3.1 degrees Celsius, depending on how well countries follow through on their climate commitments. Even with the best efforts, the world is likely to see at least a 2.6 degrees Celsius increase, which could have devastating consequences. The report comes ahead of the COP29 climate summit, where global leaders will discuss solutions. This year's talks in Azerbaijan will focus on financing for developing countries and closing the emissions gap. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres warned that the world is teetering on a planetary tightrope, and immediate action is needed to avoid disaster. He stressed that the poorest and most vulnerable will suffer the most from climate change. In 2015, the Paris Agreement set a goal to limit global warming to, well below, 2 degrees Celsius, ideally to 1.5 degrees Celsius. However, global emissions continue to rise, with the G20 nations responsible for 77% of emissions. If countries deliver on their current climate plans, we could still face a rise of 2.8 degrees Celsius, well beyond the Paris targets. The impacts of climate change are already evident. Around the world, extreme weather events like hurricanes, floods, and record heat waves are becoming more frequent and severe. Forests are burning, and cities are struggling under extreme temperatures. Inger Andersen, executive director of UNEP, called this moment climate crunch time. She urged countries to act now to strengthen their climate pledges. Even if we overshoot the 1.5 degrees Celsius target, Andersen said it's crucial to continue striving for a sustainable future. Every fraction of a degree matters in saving lives, protecting economies, and preserving ecosystems. To keep the 1.5 degrees Celsius goal alive, UNEP says that countries must cut emissions by 42% by 2030 and 57% by 2035. Achieving this will require tripling renewable energy capacity, improving energy efficiency, and transitioning away from fossil fuels. Protecting natural habitats like forests will also play a critical role in capturing carbon and reducing emissions. The stakes are high, and time is running out. While it's still possible to prevent catastrophic warming, UNEP warns that it will take unprecedented global coordination and effort, starting now. The G20 nations, responsible for most of the emissions, must lead the way in cutting greenhouse gases and pushing for a cleaner, sustainable future. That's all for today's update on the latest UN climate report. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more news on issues that matter to all of us. I was Susan. See you next time.